Anthony Davis, the freshman, most likely projected #1 pick in the NBA draft coming up this year. So we'll see, but by far easily Kentucky in that. John and I will agree with you. Kentucky by far will win this game. Pretty much just a tune-up game for them. But then we move to an intriguing matchup. Iowa State, the #8 seed, against the #9 seed UConn. Now UConn, the defending national championship champions, no longer have Kemba Walker, who really led them to that championship last year. A lot of question marks with this team. Who's the leader? Jeremy Lamb has stepped up late in the season to be that leader. Also have a little help from Andre Drummond and Alex Oriki. Jim Calhoun had that medical leave earlier in the season, so you never know if that's going to affect the team. Iowa State with some decent wins this year, beating Baylor and Kansas in the conference schedule. This one's a tough pick for me, John. I don't know. I feel like you can never count out the defending national championships, even with Iowa State's impressive conference record. I'm going to have to go UConn on this. I feel like Jeremy Lamb has a big game and is going to be able to pull it through for the Huskies.
Yeah, and I actually agree on you, but very intriguing matchup. And if UConn does get to the second round, UConn would be a much tougher test for Kentucky than Iowa State, so obviously there's some rooting interest there as well. Once again, ever since Coach Jim Calhoun came back, they've won 3 of the last 4, obviously didn't win the Big East tournament. But like you said, they have a lot of NBA talent. And I know they're young, but when you have NBA talent in the tournament, you can go far. Even if you're lacking the exact depth you had last year, at least you have people who have been through it, won the championship, and I just don't see them getting bounced in the first round. But next is a very intriguing matchup, I think. Probably one of the 5-12 matchups. And it's Wichita State versus VCU. And obviously everyone remembers VCU making that Final Four run last year. This is tough because Wichita State used to be in VCU's shoes a little bit when they made their run to the Sweet 16, and that was a shocker in 2006. But another one where I know it's a 12 versus 5, but I can't imagine a team that was in the Final Four and made a run last year. And I know they're lacking the three-point shooting that they had last year, which was incredible. I just don't see them getting bounced necessarily. I know they're the worst team and they're the 12 seed, but I really feel like they're going to come up and win a game because they have a very good coach there. And I know Wichita State has all the players, and ever since they moved their veterans, Carl Hall and David Kyle, to the bench, they haven't lost until getting upset in the semifinals of their conference tournament. But it's something about VCU's experience from last year. I think they're going to be able to win this. And it's a tough one. That's my first upset that I'm picking, and it's tough. But they're both two teams that really aren't proven. But I'm going to take the Final Four team from last year.
So we have our first 5-12 upset for John picking VCU over Wichita State, the 12th seed over the 5th seed. Now, I'm going to have to disagree with John. I'm going to take Wichita State, as many of the college basketball analysts will also agree. The Shockers of Wichita State capturing their first Missouri Valley regular season title this year. First one since 2006 when they made a run to the Sweet 16. They did lose in the semifinals of their conference tournament, but they have two very experienced, very adequate scorers in Garrett Stutz and guard Joe Renlin. 10th in the nation offensive efficiency. It's tough. It's tough to take a 12 seed over a 5 seed. So I'm going to say, based on bracketology, which I watched all day today, I'm sure, John, you were the same, I'm going to have to take the Wichita State Shockers in this one.
Yeah, and I know VCU won't be a popular pick by any means. It's just, I'm going based on not common knowledge, but knowledge that how I pick my bracket, and I go for coaching experience, and then pretty much teams who have experience in the tournament. And I know it's hard to pick that 12 versus 5, but if I had, because every year 12 beats a 5, let's not forget that, and every year a 6 beats 11. this is the one I want to pick. And that's probably the one I'm most comfortable with if I have to pick one, because you'd just be foolish not to pick one of them to upset the 5 seed. So this is the one I'm comfortable with picking.
Now with that, we'll move on to the next matchup. Number 4 Indiana against number 13 New Mexico State. This one really a no-brainer. Indiana in a heartbeat, even though they did lose guard Verlin Jones III to a season-ending ACL tear in the Big Ten tournament. They're still one of the best three-point shooting teams in the nation, coming in at second. New Mexico, winners of 4 straight. Guard Wendell McKines averaging a double-double. Indiana gave Kentucky their first loss of the season on a buzzer beater. You have to take the Indiana Hoosiers just based on the conference they play in, the level of competition they play in and night out. So I'm going to go with the Indiana Hoosiers on this one.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree with you. I have some interest. My little sister goes to Indiana, so I've been rooting for Indiana the whole year. And Cody Zeller is kind of the story about this. But I'm going to go out here, and if New Mexico State upsets Indiana, I would not be surprised. They have a very high-scoring offense. They play very little defense, that being said, but they have such a high-scoring offense, and they actually average the most possessions this season compared to any other team. They get the most offensive possessions. So I like that, and when a team lives and dies by the 3 like Indiana does, they can have those poor shooting nights. I don't think it's going to happen, but I wouldn't be too shocked, and if you want to go out on a limb and say Indiana will lose, you can do that in your bracket, but I still think Cody Zeller is the big difference in this one. Just a freshman, but he has been tearing it up for Indiana this year, so I'm going to have to go with that. Moving on to the next one, team San Diego State knows well about, UNLV taking on Colorado. This is another tough matchup because Colorado is a team that can shock you. Even though they were picked to finish near the bottom of the Pac-12 this year, which the Pac-12 was a very poor conference this year, they played extremely well. And the fact that they're playing a UNLV team that beat North Carolina by 10 points, I'm going to have to take UNLV on this one. Plus, I really like the Mountain West over the Pac-12 this year, so I'm probably going to have to go with UNLV.
I'm going to have to agree with John. UNLV saw them personally when they played New Mexico in the Mountain West Finals Friday night in Las Vegas. Very, very run-and-gun type of team. Great in transition. Chase Stanback, Mike Mosier. Mike Mosier, who is an NBA-style, NBA-capable player. Also, you add in Anthony Marshall as a guard. UNLV, I feel like this is the matchup when I first, and being that they were one of the first matchups announced, this is one where I saw UNLV's matchup and then the matchup that they could possibly see in the round of 32, and I said UNLV has a great shot at making the Sweet 16 just based on their matchup. I'm going to pick the Running Rebels to beat the Colorado Buffalo. Even though Colorado had a great season, great story winning the Pac-12 tournament, I think that UNLV is going to take it in this one. So we will move on to Baylor, South Dakota State. Not your sexiest match.